Welcome to the Great Basin Prescribed Fire and Smoke Transport Briefing for Friday, January 12th. Over the last 1 to 2 weeks, we've seen storm systems moving in from northwest to southeast, bringing snowfall mainly to Idaho, northern Nevada, into Utah. Some of the drier spots have been parts of eastern Utah and also southern and western Nevada. This does not include the precipitation we've received yesterday, so those amounts will continue to increase again with the storms that are continuing to come through. The new snowfall over the last 72 hours, you can see we've seen some healthy amounts of snowfall over especially the higher terrain in the northern half of the Great Basin, most notably up into Idaho, which not only included the higher terrain of central Idaho, but also into some of the lower elevations of southern Idaho. We saw anywhere from 6 to 10, 12 inches plus. Further south, the amounts aren't quite as high, but still very good amounts, especially in the higher terrain with amounts over 10 to 12 inches. Only far southern areas of the Great Basin didn't see quite as much, but you can even see over far southern Nevada and the Arizona Strip, even some of the higher terrain down there seeing some light amounts of snowfall. The snow depth is indicated on the right, and you can see the snowpack has now finally increased, especially across Nevada and Utah, where we're seeing many areas near normal for the time of year, and we still have more snow coming. Further north, even though we continue to see some heavier amounts up in Idaho, we're still seeing the snowpack below normal for the time of year. Looking at the satellite loop from this morning, that northwest flow and those systems dropping down from the northwest will continue with low pressure well to the north and really dominating much of the U.S. and high pressure off the west coast. So again, embedded in that northwest flow, we'll continue to see cold fronts and disturbances drop into the Great Basin with colder temperatures, wind, and precipitation. Currently, our National Weather Service watches, warnings, and advisories are shown here. You can see over the northern half of the Great Basin, plenty of winter weather advisories in the purple, winter storm warnings in the pink, and then the red over southern Idaho are blizzard warnings. So still quite a bit of active winter weather coming at us for this weekend. And then further south into Utah, you can see some freezing fog advisories, avalanche warnings. Looking at the weather pattern for later today, again, systems continue to come at us from the northwest with plenty of moisture in place. Today, mostly in the form of cloud cover, but some light shower activities ongoing this morning already over northern Nevada and into Utah, and that will continue to increase as we go through tonight. So for the winds today, we will see some still pretty gusty winds across the Great Basin, the strongest winds over the northern half of Nevada, the Sierra, and across much of Utah up into Wyoming and southern Idaho, with wind gusts above 40 or 50 miles per hour. Mixing heights, obviously, with these kind of winds and these systems will remain high. Temperatures today will be quite cold over central Idaho with highs only in the teens, and then further south, highs mostly in the 30s and 40s. Relative humidity will remain elevated in all areas and just down around 20% in the far south. On Saturday, you can see the next low pressure system moving into Oregon. This will continue to push eastward and push the cold front through the Great Basin, giving us another round of widespread snowfall especially. Dispersion will be on the lower side, however, until this system moves through. Transport winds on Saturday will be quite a bit lighter than what we'll see today, but still some pretty gusty winds, especially in central Utah in the mountains and downwind of the Wasatch and the Uintas, where we could see some pretty gusty winds, again above 50 miles per hour. Mixing heights will be on the decline across the western half of the Great Basin. Temperatures will remain fairly similar on Saturday to what we'll see today, and relative humidity also fairly similar as the moisture continues to push in. On Sunday, this system starts to push off to the east with high pressure building along the west coast, so we will see some decreasing winds, especially over the western half of the Great Basin, and probably some inversions developing, especially under the lighter winds with the new snowpack. Winds Sunday still remain breezy across most areas. You will see some lighter winds up north and over western areas of Nevada. Mixing heights generally higher the further south and east you go across the Great Basin, and lower north and west. Temperatures on Sunday will only improve a couple of degrees as the ridge starts to build in. Relative humidity will drop a little bit as the moisture starts to exit to the east. 3-day precipitation, you can see again very good amounts anywhere from the Sierra eastward across the northern half of Nevada and into Utah, especially in the higher terrain, but also some new snowfall in the lower elevations as well. And then up into southern Idaho, very good amounts of snowfall as well, hence the blizzard warnings that are occurring up there. For Monday, the ridge really starts to push into the Great Basin, so we will see strong inversions likely developing from early to midweek, but also temperatures will be on the increase. Still some gusty northwest winds over the eastern half of the Great Basin as this trough exits, so we will keep dispersion a little bit higher over the eastern portion of the region. On Tuesday, the ridge continues to build in. We may have some moisture spilling over the top of the ridge into Idaho for some cloud cover or some light showers, but the rest of the Great Basin looks to be on the drier side. And then this continues into Wednesday as well. So again, looking for those strong inversions, but also temperatures to gradually increase going through next week. And similar conditions on Thursday with that ridge really dominating much of the western half of the Great Basin. Precipitation for days 4 and 5, this takes us from Monday through Wednesday, and you can see again, generally any moisture that spills over the top of the ridge will be affecting the northern third of the Great Basin, mostly Idaho and Wyoming, but also could see some lighter showers drop down into northern Utah and northern Nevada, although not quite as heavy as certainly what we have been seeing or will see through the weekend. And then as we get into later in the week and that ridge just really settles in and strengthens, we will see decreasing shower activity, but still some lingering showers and moisture up north. And the 7-day total precip taking everything into account, obviously all areas of the Great Basin doing very well with precipitation with the exception of southern Nevada, far southern Utah in the lower elevations, and northern Arizona. The 8 to 14-day outlook from Climate Prediction Center shows generally warming trends as we go from January 19th through the 25th, but also continuing with that above normal precipitation, especially across Nevada and Utah. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back on Wednesday next week for the latest updates, as Monday will be a holiday, so these webcasts will return next Wednesday. Have a great weekend.